The Mounted Cadets of Pennsylvania Military College were a part of a long and distinguished American military tradition. George Washington recommended that Congress establish units of mounted troops during the Revolutionary War. By the winter of 1777, the Continental Army had organized 4 regiments of dragoons, which served throughout the war. Mounted troops served in every American conflict, right up to and including the First World War. So it was only logical, with the arrival in 1888 of a railroad car full of cavalry horses, PMC cadets began to train as mounted troops. Training as cavalrymen took place in 3 phases. During the first, new cadets learned basic horsemanship. It was said you could always identify these new horsemen by their stiff, painful gait and bow-legged stance. By winter, these bow-legged cadets were ready to start troop drill and, believe it or not, stunt riding. The mounted troops even held a rodeo every year in an armory in Philadelphia. Open to the public, they showed off their amazing, crazy skills on horseback. By spring, the mounted cadets were back in the saddle. Riding hell-bent for leather throughout the countryside as they continued to develop their skills. And sometimes their horses cooperated, and sometimes, well, they did not. In 1894, just 6 short years after the program began, PMC's cavalry squad participated in the Philadelphia Horse Show. Local newspapers declared their performance probably the finest exhibition of drilling on horseback ever seen in Philadelphia. The highlight of the year for the mounted cadet was commencement. Today, most commencements consist of a few speeches, a series of cheers for each graduate, and maybe a reception afterward. But at PMC, it was a weekend-long affair, which for the mounted cadets included the challenging Bergfels Medal Contest. The 3-hour competition kicked off commencement, and by the end, the cadet who demonstrated the finest horsemanship received the prestigious 14-karat gold medal, a highly coveted reward for long months of training. Colonel Frank Hyatt, who followed both his father and grandfather as president of PMC, was renowned as one of the country's most outstanding horsemen. An active polo enthusiast, he quickly realized the advantages that the sport of polo could bring to his young mounted cadets. By the 1920s, most major colleges had polo teams, and the sport was a perfect fit for PMC's well-trained horsemen. Under Hyatt's leadership, the PMC polo team became one of the best in the Intercollegiate Polo League, winning a national championship in 1928. James Spurrier, a half Osage Indian, and Emery Hickman were recruited to the team from the Oklahoma Military Academy. James Spurrier said, "We knew that the best polo in the country was played here in the East, so we wanted to go where the best polo was being played." In the wake of World War II, the U.S. Army had ended the use of mounted troops. Trench warfare and the machine gun had made the use of the horse impractical in battle. PMC horsemanship training was no longer relevant to the school's goals of producing highly trained, dedicated leaders, so polo at the school also came to an end. In their last polo season of 1942 and 1943, PMC won the College Polo Series title at West Point, an exciting end to a tradition of mounted horsemanship that had lasted for more than 50 years.